everybody, and let me turn down the music here. Actually, just the volume for me. Oh, there we go. Alright, everybody, welcome to YouTube says this is the 19th render roast. I think that's pretty hard to believe. It seems like they're going by fast. Hopefully you guys are all doing good with the whole coronavirus stuff. I'm personally off school for the rest of the year, which is actually crazy. I mean, technically it's online school, but wow, what a change. But we're pushing forward here at the Blender Discord server, and we're gonna get started today with some of these renders. Let me get the music up just a tad. Good to have some background music. And hopefully my voice is a good volume. Looks like everything's connected, so let's get it started. We're gonna start, actually I'll go through these today, so you can just know the order, because they're in alphabetical order, not the order that they were put in by you guys. So let's go through it. This will probably be all I can do today, but if I have a little more juice at the end of this, and if you guys are wanting it, we'll see if we can do a little bit more. So to start it off, we have Abysma's 2 renders. You got this cyborg dude and a gun. We're next going to move on to Captain J and this like cool reflection sphere thing. After that, we'll take a look at Cesium 55's like tower city thing, which honestly, man, that looks super cool. We'll next move on to DJ Stoiner's, I'm thinking this is like a phone wallpaper, but yes, we will critique that. It looks kind of cool. I love the neon. Then we'll take Drew's interior kind of bathroom render, and another interior we'll do laser car. So that is looking really nice already. I'm liking it. Then we have Mukri as Awesome Cyborg. I actually saw him painting some of the textures in like the live voice chat thing a few months ago, so it's awesome to see the final product on this. Then we'll have Saber's gun and Akari made. Both look awesome, and we'll probably finish off, we might do a little bit more, but the last one I'm planning on doing is Wisdom's kind of iPhone, what is it, 11? Yep, I think we're on 11 now. That's the current generation, right? Wisdom's iPhone 11 Pro Max or whatever renders, they look really great. So, let me just get a drink real quick. Alright, let's see if that works. Works perfect. So Abysma, I think you've submitted some of these before. I feel like you're doing some sort of,
Searching for music for your next video?
oh gosh, there's an ad.
Check out ours.
Whoops.
Amazing new music added daily, and one simple.
There we go. So these all seem to kind of be in the Cybershock like theme. Like each one is a Cybershock different like part of the story, which is super super cool how you're kind of doing a continuation thing with each one. I remember had this really cool one with like the guy flying with like rockets and stuff. I think that was you. I'm not totally sure, but it seems like a similar sort of thing. The first thing I noticed about this render, it's really like well composed. Like you've got kind of this, it's like well focused with him. You got kind of some depth of field to make sure he's really popping out. But one thing you could really do to kind of push that even further is actually use the lighting to really make him the focus. So a lot of times in photography this is done with like kind of a vignette, but I mean that's just kind of a cheaper way. I think you could actually add some more like spotlights or stuff directly on him to kind of bring out the drama of like this moment. And you know how there's like in kind of these airlock sci-fi things, there's like sometimes like fog and like bright lights shining through. I think that could really be used super creatively and effectively to like just really bring out this guy and make him stand out a ton. And also I think it just kind of feels these whole like plastic armor plates, they're a really cool design, but they kind of look, they just, they seem a little bit like Lego almost. I think you could really you know, even like Stormtrooper plastic definitely has some like wear and tear on it, which is just always a good thing to consider. And you know, these window things over here, I think they could be like, I'm not totally sure if it's like kind of that cloth sci-fi like padding, or if they could be windows like to outer space, or you know, whatever planet he's on. But I think if you open those up, maybe let light shine through, maybe made it kind of bit brighter over here, to just really like give it more context outside of this spaceship, that would be super nice. Also, the hexagon pattern, let me try and zoom in here. I think it looks really nice. Just make sure that it doesn't stretch with these places of I don't know, where they deform, because that's often just like, especially in here, you know what I mean? It just kind of subtracts from the believability of it. So make sure you keep that in mind. Also, I don't know what maps like the hexagon pattern is being affected. It looks like it could just be color, but I think it'd be super cool if you kind of made that like a bump too. So it's got that like kind of just extra feeling of bumpiness and stuff. And yeah, man, I see you got some like wear and tear over here, which is awesome. You should just kind of apply that maybe on a smaller scale to a lot more of these areas. And the gun, I mean, like if you check out the guns from, I don't know, like literally any shooting game, and like Call of Duty or something, they're just so worn and torn on, you know what I mean? So that's, oh, there's an ad. Sorry guys. Here we go. Alright. That's just something, especially with like a gun, that's just so important to think about. So make sure you give that some more textures and wear and tear. Also, see, I think it's the blue here is really the only single point of really any color in this. I mean, yeah, it's whoops. So you got all this gray, but, and I think you want the blue to really stand out. Like maybe that has some significance to the Cybershock story or something, but I'm not totally sure. But if you want the blue to stand out even more than just putting it in against gray, you could use like a complementary color in the background, like kind of some orange light, because that actually will make the blue stand out way more than it would in just gray, like it is right now. So if you really want to make that blue pop, I recommend using other colors to really just make that super accented. And some things I really like about this are just kind of the overall attention to detail and just like the, I don't know, story, like world building almost. I don't know if that makes sense, but like you can definitely tell you thought a lot about like this grate up here, the gun on the back. Everything really seems really well thought out, and that's super awesome. So great job on this render, but just keep some of those things in mind. The technical elements like the wear and tear on the gun, and also kind of the lighting stuff and color to make sure that this guy really pops out, and that you can use color to make this blue just super vivid. So that's an awesome render, and we're gonna move on to your next one right now, which is a gun. I think it looks like it's kind of sort of the same style, so that's awesome. And once again, you have this blue, which I would I mean, it's kind of harder because this isn't really seen, so yeah, I'm not sure if there's any opportunities to put any like orangey stuff in there to complement the blue, make it pop out more. But you can always do like an orange rim light. A rim light is where you or sometimes people call it a kick light, is kind of actually what you have here, where you just want it to glance off the sides, kind of like, I don't know, like a Fresnel effect or something. Just really kick the outline of the piece. You have that a little bit, but if you change the color to something slightly warmer, it would make this cooler color here really just jazzy. I don't see any shading issues on here, which is really good. Whoa, my bad. So I wouldn't say this is technically a shading issue, because it's not like, you know, Ngons or anything. I think it's just a little weird thing that doesn't look perfectly, you know, consistent with the rest of the design, like just up in here. So I'd maybe take a look at that and see if it's something you want to fix. And also in these areas where you've got like a smooth curvature, those can be difficult, but just make sure that, because you see it kind of bends here and just doesn't really feel right. Especially in here too, you can see this kind of this little dip. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, just make sure that you like really get those smooth and try and avoid the just the irregularities in the curve. One way to do that pretty effectively that I've discovered is actually use less geometry and with the subdivision surface modifier, because right now I'm guessing you probably got like bam 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 or whatever. I mean, obviously I don't know, but like it seems fairly dense. If to get it like really smooth in a part like this, if you just had like some holding edges here and just like 2 big ones or maybe 3 they kind of curve down, and this one would be set a little bit further back, then the subdivision surface modifier will smooth that out and you don't have to worry about these bit harsher of curves. I really like, oh gosh, I don't know if you can see that pop-up window actually. I keep bringing up a pop-up accidentally, which is annoying. So for this, I really like the design of this inside piece. I mean, I guess it would be cool if like whatever this chunk is, oh my gosh, I have a circle now. No, here we go. If this chunk, kind of, it feels like this part is just like straight up intersecting it, which isn't always awesome. If this was like kind of hollowed out a little bit so you could see how more of this light comes through, that'd be really cool. And but that's not really like that's more of a creative choice that I think would be awesome. And these all look cool. I would see, I actually didn't notice that there was blue in here. I would make this blue like way brighter, because I mean, whatever these things are, like the you just gotta make sure you like emphasize the parts that are really interesting, and I think this is really interesting. So making this like really bright, or actually changing the color in here to like green or something, because it's like on the barrel or whatever, could be like pretty awesome. Just make sure that like you make parts that like are interesting like this like really shine. Also, I feel like this doesn't, so this is clearly glass. It doesn't really have kind of the luster or shine that you know, glass you really want it to have. I'm guessing that's because there's actually no like environment to like reflect. So I'd say have an HDRI, even if it's not very bright, and you mostly just like light it with like lights like you have. I'd still have an HDRI in the background just to help these reflections like in something like glass, which can be really crucial to making it look realistic. It could even be like a sci-fi HDRI, or literally just like any image that you think looks cool. Like, it doesn't have to be an HDRI if you just want the reflections. It could be just pull it up off Google, and just use it as like an environment or something. It'll be like way like warped and stuff, but if it's not being directly shown and you're not relying on it for the lighting, that's a cool way to get some reflections. And I do notice you've got a texture in here. It looks like a either a noise texture, clouds texture, or something. Maybe Musgrave, Musgrave, I don't know. But it's only affecting the color channel, so of the material. Make sure you have it affect like the roughness and stuff, to kind of get a scratchy effect. That's really powerful. And that was one of the things that I was noticing in this other one that you could have done better with. Maybe you do have it in here. I see some variation, I guess. But yeah, make that way more prominent and make it affect other channels like the bump and the roughness to help bring that out. You can also paint a mask on the model to help it only be in like the areas you want to. So because a flat plane area like this actually wouldn't normally get very much like wear and tear because it doesn't get hit as much as like a corner, which is why a lot of people use Substance Painter to kind of get these corner areas super well defined like automatically. But you could make a mask that controls the mix factor of it and just kind of paints along here to get this wear and tear only in the corner areas or areas that you think would have a lot of damage. That can really help bring out the realism too. So that's something to keep in mind, and I would definitely try that next time. But dude, overall this looks pretty awesome. It's like very it's not like overstimulating, you know. It has a perfect amount of detail where like you can figure out everything that's going on, but like it's not too simple that it feels boring. I think you really did a good job with that in just terms of the design. So that's super nice, and thank you for submitting it. Next we're going to move on to Captain J. So I always love these kind of reflecting, like there's some really cool photography, I don't know, for like desktop backgrounds or whatever, with like the sphere of glass. It's like reflecting this environment. It's a pretty cool idea. But here I think there's definitely some things we can do to improve it, and if you ever make any more of these, I think for sure this can be worked on a little, but it's looking nice. So I think one of the best things about it is that you really have done a great job with the depth of field in the background and having it really sharp in the reflection, like refraction thing in the foreground. That is super nice. And that's one of the things that all these good photos have. So well done with that. I would actually maybe I think you want to be able to tell a little bit more of what's going on in the background. So maybe do it a little bit less. Or yeah, just I think a lot of it is you know, all the stuff in the background is at the same distance from the camera. It's like in the same plane almost. There's not actually much perspective going on. So it kind of just feels like, other than whatever this thing, I guess that matches with that, I hope. Yep, it looks like it. It's kind of a fun puzzle. But like all these other things are just kind of flat in the same space. I would bring some further back and some more forward to kind of, yeah, create like perspective, and help give it depth, which can be really powerful. I'd also just use the denoiser. I know it's such a nitpicky thing, but especially in like, I don't know, nowadays there's really no reason to have noise in your image. You got two denoisers in Blender. You got the like original, and you got Intel Open Image Denoise, which works so well, which you use in the compositor as a compositing node after you've rendered it. So just use one of those for sure. I think Intel Open Image Denoise could just honestly clean this up just like super fast. And then that's just one less thing that needs to be worked on. It's so easy. So that's something I would definitely look at. Also, I think I just noticed this, but the sky, it just seems a little bit just a little bit uncanny, if you're seeing what I'm saying. Most skies, I'm actually gonna draw it on the bottom because you can see more. I hope that's not confusing. So normally the sky is more blue up here, like a very intense blue, towards the top of the sky, like the top of the dome or whatever. But as you get further down, it becomes more the atmosphere scatters more lights, and it becomes a lighter shade. And down here it's just as intense as up here. So I would definitely use like a sky HDRI or something to really I mean, you could probably do this whatever with like the environment you're using or the sky texture in Blender or whatever. Ooh, the sky texture in Blender, right now the current one is pretty outdated, but they're actually thinking of implementing a new, more modern one, which can responds to that sort of atmospheric scattering and stuff. Which hopefully, it's not like confirmed it'll be added yet, but that would be super cool if it is. But yeah, I guess just use an HDRI so that you can just have a natural feel of this, and how it kind of fades off with the atmosphere. So yeah, I'd say also it's hard to know, but I would maybe bring the camera back and change the focal length so that you can see more of this background stuff and then see it being reflected, so that creates like I don't know, it's hard to describe, but like just give it more depth. You want to see more of this background, not just it being reflected, because the reflection is kind of just the sphere just needs to be kind of like the cherry on top of an already good scene, that really just makes it more interesting and brings it to the next level. When it's just this and you can't really see much in the background, it's not as effective. So that's just something to keep in mind if you do one of these again or come back to edit this one. But I really like your use of color. It's almost just like what I was saying with this one. You got like the complementary colors of the blue and the orange, and that looks super nice. So that's an awesome touch. And I think you've got really good stuff going on here. But just keep some of those things in mind, and good work. So we're gonna move on to the next one for today, which is Cesium 55, and oh my gosh, this is such a cool render. I love it. Like the lighting, the sky, everything. It just feels so magical, which, I mean, I think that's what you're going for. I don't know if any of you guys have played this game. It's pretty obscure, but there's this game on the Wii called Disney Epic Mickey. That was like Mickey Mouse, and he like goes into this other world, and like it was like all dramatic and stuff. And this reminds me of it so much. So wow, oh my gosh, that's so good. I think, I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's gorgeous. You got all these different textures being projected on here, which just, I feel like it's the Ian Hubert sort of method where you just, take a picture of a building and slap it on and, use that, which I mean, it's clearly not like, the quote unquote, stereotypical, like, correct way to do things, but it's super fast, and I think it works amazing for something like this. So yeah, that's so nice. All the detail, it really just, it's gorgeous, dude. I gotta actually think about for a moment what I'm even gonna say. Oh, here's something. So I guess this is just sort of a thing to make this whole building more dramatic, which is already so dramatic. Like it's so like imposing over the camera. You got the light, everything was super good. With the color and light, I would I don't know, like make some sort of rim light or kick light up here, so you really get a strong, bold outline on the building, and it just makes it feel even more like alive, like a flash of lightning. Yes, there we go, a flash of lightning up here that's just like bam, and just kind of making this whole thing just like super vivid. That would be crazy cool, and it's kind of already a kind of a storm feeling. That's what I'm getting from it. So that's something I would do for sure. Just make it more dramatic and help this building pop. Just to give it more, just like more of an accent. I don't know if, yeah, it just needs to stand out more. With the, so I see you have these kind of, is this like the moth? I think this is like this is definitely an Ian Hubert thing. I love that so much. You've got like a moth deal here, which is, oh, another ad. Sorry guys. Alright. Oh, that was short. Nice. Ooh, I have no pings on Discord. Maybe that means I'm doing good. Ooh, we do have some more submissions. I'm not sure if I'll get past this, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I do. And we can do this a little longer, but we'll see. Last time, a few months ago, that I was hosting, my voice was like so destroyed by the end, so I need to make sure that doesn't happen again. Yeah, because that was tough actually. But back to the render. So you've got these like things for the moths. I think that is like really the only source of like motion in the scene right now. And you know, kind of one of the you know, Gleb Alexandrov has this video where he's like talking about like the 13 things you know, people get wrong in their renders. It's a super good video. Honestly, it's like every time I'm doing something, I just think I try and think of what I can improve from that video, because it's such an excellent discussion of just like kind of some more less talked about artistic tips. But like, you want a lot of, especially in something so dramatic and already good like this, having more like sense of motion kind of coming down can really, like, especially like around the building, could be so cool. So I think if you had like, I don't know, like papers blowing or leaves, or like kind of just get a feel of like wind somehow, to make this kind of storm setting and the building and the drama just even more epic, honestly. That's one thing I would definitely take a look at. Over here, so these are definitely just like either planes or cubes. You know, it's a little bit tricky, but I would still do the thing you did over here with them popping out, even over here where it's in the background, because that just it's pretty easy to tell that these are just really flat, which is not always the best. And I would for this light, I would make it a lot brighter. And this one over here, just like these kind of I don't know what it, like, they kind of are different than the rest of the, you know, stuff. Like, you just go to buildings, but then there's these two lights. I would make them a lot brighter, because it's actually super dark. And if you made that brighter, and yep, like I said, maybe like lightning to give this just a super nice kick. Man, that would just be so cool. So yeah, I think this looks really nice. I like how you just have such a good variety of the textures you've projected on it. I would say some of these feel like they're almost like for the top of roof, they're like the wrong side of a building. Like these ones, I mean, I can't really tell. I'm not like some expert in like house design or big building design, but I'd for sure make sure that you get like textures that are like oriented correctly for being on the side rather than the top. I could be wrong, but I just especially like that's definitely looking like the top of a building. So something to keep in mind. But wow, this is extremely cool, and I hope you keep doing stuff like this and using Ian Hubert's techniques, because that is really, really beautiful. And thank you so much for submitting, Sessium. Next up, we're going to move to DJ Stoiner's kind of like I'm actually single, but I love y'all phone background. I'm really thinking this is a phone background. I could be wrong, but I mean, it's definitely it's out of proportion. I guess I'm not gonna lie, there's not a ton to critique here. It's pretty solid. It really just does what it's supposed to. It just like it's kind of a simpler thing, kind of a retro vibe. This is definitely not my current playlist. I just needed to make sure it's no copyright sounds. Alright, yep it is. So, the vocals kind of even like go with this. I don't know. Love theme. I'm not sure. I can't really hear the words, but it's cool. So I love the choices of like font stuff. One thing I would do, that I actually just saw is you can actually I don't know, it was on Twitter or something. You can adjust like the kerning of text in Blender, but like I don't know. I forgot how to do it. You should look it up. But just make sure all these are spaced just how you want them, just for that, extra kind of feel of professionalism. And you don't really have the... So, you got, okay, blue, white, green, blue... I think that's just, no, wait. Did I just say green? That's red. I'm kind of dumb. Blue, white, red. So the white is an overlapping, I'm thinking. Yeah, for sure. So red, blue, but in here you've got so yeah, green and then red, and then in here it's green, blue, red. So I like how they're kind of each one is adding. It's really cool actually. Yeah, I mean it looks awesome. And the amount of bloom I think is really appropriate. For just like how bright neon is. That is just super nice. And I don't know, if this is a phone background, you could always like add some more like I don't know, vines or neon or anything really to fill up this extra space. Because right now you're only using this kind of central area, but that's okay. I mean, if that's what you want, then that's okay. But just there's a lot of, I mean, I like to think of like space in the image as like creative space, like it is just like physical, like I don't know, pixels or whatever, but it's also just like space to be creative with it and do stuff. And you have a lot of room, so I'd maybe spice it up a little bit. But obviously, if this is just kind of a simple thing, then that might not be the move. So yeah. Just the different colors of neon, and it works really well. So I'm not going to spend much more time on this, but thank you for submitting it, and I think whatever this was made for, it serves its purpose really well. So that's all you can ask. So looks great, and thank you so much. I gotta just say again, like the way that you kind of add a color each time, I think that's super cool. So, and like makes me feel like I don't know, just like that retro kind of line thing is nice. So yeah, it's good stuff. And hopefully you'll submit more, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Stoiner. Alright, this is Drew. I don't know if I've seen Drew around in the server before. But thank you for submitting this, Drew. And oh, was that another ad? Alright, there we go. Alright. This is definitely going off my playlist, but it's still no copyright sounds, so I think we're good. Alright. Hold on, let me get a drink real quick. So, bathroom scene, I like it. I think, the materials look great. I actually think I recognize this material from Texture Haven. I mean, it's super good. I love that you used it. The walls are pretty much just diffuse and glossy. Not a ton going on, but that's alright. I might actually make them more diffuse. This is pretty realistic looking, but a lot of times in kind of more modern architecture stuff, they do use a really diffuse paint, instead of kind of this more glossy that you're getting here. So that's just something to consider. Make sure you look at like a lot of reference of modern photography, modern architecture photography, if you want to kind of find those things. And so I feel like in here you got, right, like a 1-point perspective. Everything's just coming into a single point. But like it's not very deep. You could scoot the camera back or lower the focal length, and then just add a lot more like I don't know, like niches into this wall with like stuff in it. Maybe like shelves. Just make it feel longer. And more, give it more perspective. I think that could be really interesting. Also, I think the hardest thing with architectural visualization, and the main thing that could need some improvement here, is just the lighting. Creating a sense of like openness, and with a light. So, I mean, there are a few ways to do this. You can always, I mean, I'm just gonna give this a try. You can always just like up the exposure. I mean, so okay, it's definitely getting blown out. But you see what I mean? Like, just having it more. Because I mean, baseline is all the way down here, which feels way too dark. Giving more light to the scene, like it should be honestly about this bright, but obviously not blown out. And if you do it with lighting in the scene, you know, filmic or whatever, will keep it from being blown out like this. But you want all these surfaces to be actually quite bright, so that you can really just feel that openness. For windows like this, if it's facing the sky, it's totally fine for it to be just blown out. That's really common. A lot of times people actually use curtains and stuff. If a light source, like a window, is going to be completely blown out, they'll use curtains to still give it some definition and texture, rather than just having the window. That's one strategy you can use if it feels like it's being blown out with the light. By blown out, I mean like when it's just so bright, like everything just becomes the same color. So you don't want that, but definitely really crank up the light source brightness. Also, I would, I mean, especially in kind of modern architecture, lighting is just everything, and they have lights like on ceilings, kind of shining onto things to diffuse it elsewhere, all over the place. You could have a light like over here shining in. You could have a light shining back from the camera into the scene. You could have a strong light. You know what this could be? This area over here, it obviously comes further. You could have that be like all open windows, even if you don't see it, and that could let a ton of light in, to really just illuminate this. Skylights always work too. There's so many options, but make sure that you get it brighter. Even if it's just in like post-processing and a few more lights, or an HDRI that's cranked up more. Don't be afraid to go ham with like the color and the Well, I guess not as much the color in architecture, but the brightness for sure. You want to just really pop. So, and I guess that's, yeah, that is really the main thing. I'm looking to see some other stuff. I feel like this green dude, this green little plant guy. Oh, is that like? Okay, I feel like that's so. I was actually thinking it's a plant, like a moss thing. So that's something I would definitely just like pay attention to. Like, make sure you don't, you know, with like architectural rendering, you don't want to ever have anything that's like confusing. You don't want them to like be asking questions about what something is. It should be very clear. Because I mean, you're advertising a product, which is the architecture. So just make sure that everything feels very concrete. Don't leave anyone guessing about like something like soap that could be a plant. I mean, from back here you can see how it's kind of like a could be like a moss thing. Make sure you keep everything very easy to like digest, even if it's more detailed. I really like the towels here. That's super nice. You should probably this is such a small thing, but you should definitely scoot these together. Cause right now this one would just like fall down and they'd just be 3. But that's such a small thing. But just keep in mind details like that. And I think, ooh, this painting's. Oh, see, paintings like this are such a like a good opportunity. Cause oftentimes they're illuminated by themselves. Like you have a like a light up here that's shining down onto the painting to like light it up. So totally do that. Don't miss out on these opportunities to add lots of light. That's a huge thing. So I think this looks really good. I like the floor texture too. I think technically you've got a lot of good stuff going on, but just keep practicing with ArchViz so that you can just get that more professional, like bright, realistic look. So thank you so much, Drew, and keep at it, and thank you for submitting. Next up, okay, so this is kind of what LaserCar did a really good job with kind of what I'm talking about here. It just feels much more brighter and opener. Big windows let a lot of light in, so that's something you should totally consider doing. It's great that Laser Cars was here for kind of an example right away. But we're gonna move on to Laser Cars. Let me just take a look at this real quick. I should really look at these in advance, so like, and write some stuff down, so I have a plan of what to say. But that's okay. Overall, Laser Car, dude, you like are making mad gains in terms of like your CG stuff. I'm really impressed. I think this is, so you've done what, the one other architecture one, which is also actually pretty fire. And this is looking awesome too. I guess fruit bowl, love fruit bowls, dude. Staple of ArchViz kitchens. I guess there's just a few weird things about this, but overall it looks great. So I think the grass. See, when I like, okay, let's just go to something else and click in. The first thing you look at is definitely the grass, because it's just so much more vivid than anything else. I know it would like, it feels like not great, but I would actually make the grass lower the saturation quite a bit so it matches more with these leaves, because these leaves are really nice. You can tell they're green and you can tell they're like ivy, but they don't ever distract from the interior, which the grass really does right now. So that's something to keep in mind, just like in general. Also, I would, you know, this table, it actually is pretty dark. Um, I would just turn these lights on. That's like such an easy fix, and they're literally right there. And kind of some orange could be super cool, which is just an idea. Uh, so really turning those lights on, just cranking them up, getting some bloom maybe. That could be awesome. The texture down here looks so good. That's well done. And oh, also, the oven. Um, yeah, ovens don't really see. They actually they don't really just reflect that much. It's mostly just you see the inside of the oven, but it's dark, so it just looks really dark. If you want to do that easily, something I do, which disclaimer, it's probably not always best practice, but for something like this, it definitely works. Is just mix whatever shader is plugged into the material output here. Just mix it with nothing. Just add a mix shader and then adjust the factor so you can just get it as dark as you want it to make it just feel more realistic. That just darkens it. Kind of. Yeah, I would say definitely do that on that so that it doesn't feel like it feels like it's just kind of like a mirror. That's like a dark mirror, which is definitely not what stoves actually do. So that's one thing to consider. I love all these like elements in here. That's absolutely amazing. I would actually okay. You do have lights, in here. I might also actually I'd put lights up here, shining down, kind of like those like longer, diffuser, like strips of light that you see sometimes in architecture renders. You could also put one of those up here and kind of get a cool bright light effect up here if you wanted to. It's always optional though. And yeah, I mean, I'd say in general, I think this is an awesome render, and it looks great. But there's just a few things like that are just kind of overlooked, like these lights. You should turn them on. So awesome job, and I mean, it looks super super good. So keep up the good work, and wow, dude, like from I don't know 6 months ago to now, you've made some tremendous improvements. So if you keep that up, you're gonna be like a god by the time, whatever time you're going for. I don't know what that would be, but you know, it's coming along well. So thank you so much for submitting a laser car, and I'll see you in chat sometime. You're pretty active. All right, next up is Mukaria. Dude, this is insanely cool. Wow. Okay. Um, it's gorgeous, man. I love everything about it. The composition, like the feeling of energy. It's incredible. The sparks, how they're just moving so fast, and you have so much motion blur. It's amazing. All right, I'm trying to think about. So, I'm not gonna have much to say about this because it's so awesome. Um, but and it's technically like the textures, everything is just amazingly well done. Um, so I would say move. I think it'd be really cool if you moved the camera a lot closer to the ground. It's pretty close to the ground right now, but if you like had it really close to the ground and like tilted it up, you could get like I don't know, a lot more just like grime and pebbles and kind of a more sense of perspective as it kind of comes up and then you see him. So that might be a really cool thing to do. I don't know. Wow, it's so cool. I think also like you've got kind of these primary like big shapes. You got some secondary shapes. I'm talking about the background right now. But honestly, it's like get a lot more of those, kind of third level, like tertiary shapes. um, which can really just like in these just add tons of little details, and especially like in the ground too. Like you could have little stuff on the I don't know, hose or whatever, the cord. Uh, so that can really add detail. That could even just be through textures. Um, there's this great tool, JSplacement. I don't know if you've heard of it. You might have. Oh, another ad. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. That kind of generates sci-fi textures that can really make this stuff are just perfect. It's absolutely perfect for this kind of thing. So, and using it as like a displacement with that JSplacement texture, whatever, you can just easily get tons of like really cool details in this background stuff, which you should totally do. Also, I would say this is definitely like you don't really know what his like mission is right now. If you like treated this as a door or something and had it open and like a bunch of like light shining in on him, and like maybe he was like facing it a little bit more, that could really like show that he's oh, sorry. That could show that like more of a purpose with him, if that makes sense. Like he's gonna go, fight, whatever monster or something. It kind of reminds me of like Pacific Rim, which is super cool. I'm just kind of going through creative ideas because honestly, this is insanely good. You could have like a big kind of forge area that's like super big. And you have like a bunch of these guys like being made by like different like machines and stuff, and then you have this guy like, coming out of it like on the top level or something, and you see all the stuff below happening. I don't know, that's an idea, kind of more like like the actual him being made, like in bulk, which could be super dramatic and cool. But honestly, dude, this looks amazing. So I'm not gonna spend any more time on it, but wow, 100% thumbs up, and yeah, I love it. This is okay. So these two are both by Saber or Sabre. I think it's Saber actually. Um, so it looks really nice, man. You're definitely I've seen mostly automotive stuff from you like this. So that's kind of more. I feel like your kind of typical thing. But I love the gun. It's amazing. Yeah, this is exactly the stuff you did with these textures is exactly what I mean over here for this dude. Like, you've just got so many good grunge maps. You've got the way it like, yeah, man, it looks awesome. Like in here, it's, dude, well done. For sure. So yeah, I love it. I guess one thing that's throwing me off is I feel like this green part is actually, I can't tell if it's supposed to be like a diffuse, kind of like a skin thing, or if it's actually like metal, like this is. I feel like this is kind of a paint, but this green part is a little bit off. So I just make sure you focus on that and figure out what kind of real life material that would be feeling like. Well, and because it's corroding with the paint below, which is such a good effect, but like it doesn't really seem like paint in the first place. It kind of still seems metallic. So just make sure you focus on materials and making sure they seem true to life. I love the bump down here with the grip. Everything looks super good. So you could always you kind of have a little bit of a gradient background, how it like goes out here. But you could like do something more creative with the background, like kind of add like a smoke backdrop with like billows of smoke, and then you like got this gun kind of out of it. I guess like look at the like the gun screens or whatever when you're like choosing your gun from like Call of Duty or something to just like get inspiration for how to present it, the presentation, because that's really important. Because I mean it's an excellent render, but you could just take it to like the next level with just a really professional looking presentation. Because it's a professional quality, I mean, gun. Let's be real. But it's a little lacking in the art side of things. So that's something I keep in mind. Just the details in here, it's really excellent.
Honestly thought about
Oop,
starting a
another ad.
business, but I don't
Gosh,
know.
this is kind of annoying, like really annoying actually. Um, all right, sweet. So, yeah, everything looks perfect, honestly, except for the paint and the background. So, amazing job, dude, and you've got some really good stuff going on with these textures. So, I'm gonna move on to your car, and this is also excellent. You're kind of just like a god tier artist, honestly. Um, some quick things with this that I noticed right off the bat is the guy's face. Just, I mean, it's just weird. I would personally not. I would have him as obscured as possible, which he is up here, but down here you can definitely see like his skin and stuff, which is just feeling totally off. Um, I'm not like that's not a criticism because I don't think you should spend a lot of time on him. I think you probably just download him or like did him in like Make Human, which is just completely fine. But make sure, I would say, lower this shadow so that like he is more obscured and he's not distracting from the car, because the car is the focus, not the dude, obviously. Uh, and also, I mean, just like way to make an interior. That's like it looks super good. So yeah, that's awesome. I would make the back window. So for something that you can see through not just one but two windows, I think it would be really cool if it was like just like darker, more shaded, uh, like more, you know, windows definitely have some tint. So something that's being shown like the spoiler through both windows should be a bit darker. But that's definitely. I love the perspective and the way you've kind of done it with this interior of like the tunnel or something. It looks super good. And the glare, I mean, oh dude, it's nice. I love the way that, see, the cuts aren't interrupting the reflections at all, which is so impressive. Probably did like the edge split thing, I don't know. But that looks super good. I'd say in here, that is probably the only, you know, shading mishap I can find. It's really not bad, but, and it might be in the actual car model, but I would just say make sure you, like, just take a look at that, make sure that's how you want it, because I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest. So I feel like if it was more smooth coming down here, that could be better. And there is, I feel like there's a lot of noise in here. I feel like so the denoiser just isn't really working with the motion blur. Like, okay, so you got motion blur here, which is really good, but the denoiser just isn't cutting it. So I think you have to use more samples, because that actually is kind of an issue, especially with something that's already just this excellent. Like you've got these car paint flakes here. That's so good. Actually might I think it'd be really cool if you added another layer of clear coat over like this car paint flake thing. I mean that's just personal preference, but I think car paints with clear coat often look super, super nice. So I'd keep that in mind. Ooh, is that an ad? Darn it. Okay. Alright. This is a pretty long song, so we should be good for a few minutes. Yeah, I mean, this is excellent modeling. I don't know if you modeled this yourself. I'm feeling like you did. I think you have in the past, so this is super good. But yeah, really nice job, and I mean, it looks good. It looks good. Keep up the car renders. You're gonna be one of the greats someday if you keep this up. So I love it, man. I am getting pretty tired right now, so I think we probably will be stopping after Wisdom's iPhones, but we will see. So thank you so much, Saber, and I love this render and I love all your stuff. I haven't liked it on ArtStation yet, so right after this, I will go give it its much deserved ArtStation like. Okay, here we go. Last one for today. It is Wisdom with this iPhone 11 product render. This is so nice. iPhone 11 Pro Max or whatever. I think you really kind of just nailed the whole feeling that you're supposed to get from these advertisements. Just like the clean lines, just the nice aesthetic kind of beauty of an iPhone. Just like the glass, the different materials, it all looks super good. I actually, that's weird. I feel like, if I remember correctly, the newer iPhones have glass backs. So, maybe it has a case on it. I don't know. Oh, it does. Wait, is it a case? Yes, that's a case. Okay, it makes sense. So iPhone 11 Pro Max with a case. Gotcha. So I think this looks super good. The reflections are actually, I mean, they're what makes these sort of product renders. And you've got a super nice one right here. I would find a way to get one of these horizontal reflections on every single one of these camera things. Just like, so you get that, it would be so clean if you could just have it on. So maybe use more lights to kind of just define that. Also, the way you modeled the inside of the camera, like the lenses, that's awesome. I love that. And oh, Saber says the whole car is modeled by me in Blender, except the tire. Yeah, okay, no one models tires. That's all good. And rendered in V-Ray. Yeah, V-Ray is awesome. Love that. V-Ray, oh my gosh, if I was gonna buy a rendering engine, V-Ray would be the one. Like, that, biased quality is so good. But, alright, thank you for the, info, Saber. And, yeah, appreciate the update. And yeah, no one models car tires, so that's totally all good. So, the fact that you took the time and modeled the inside of the camera is amazing. And it really shows. It looks so good. And I would just keep kind of focus on that quality in other like parts. Like, I mean, I guess there's not a ton. The thing is, with an iPhone, I wish there was more like detail that could be had. Obviously you got this like strip, which is, I mean, it just looks perfectly right. But yeah, I don't know. Also, so this part is glossy in here, and you got that line to show it, which those lines are just everything. It looks super good. Make sure you try and get another line in that, like that in here, on that glossy part. So that'd be super cool. And I guess for backgrounds, you know, there's a lot of I kind of mentioned earlier like a billowing smoke thing. You could actually just like so I think Apple provides a lot of these backgrounds or whatever. They're super beautiful. I'd take another one of like these type of backgrounds by Apple and put it in the background so that you have like this one here and maybe like a cool billowing thing in the background instead of just black. That could really help it be more exciting. I'd do that in here too. Just kind of poof, like a big explosion of color. I mean, that would be so cool. So nice work. Yeah, because right now it feels like the OLED display, which is, I mean, true black, but like it's the same black as out here, which just feels a little bit off. It feels like it's almost just like the phone and it's like hollow or something. Like, you know what I mean. So do something with the background, even if it's subtle. It doesn't have to be some kind of big, massive explosion of smoke. But do something subtle with the background so that you can just really tell that this is, you know, the phone screen, and just make everything pop more. And I guess, so you've only got these two. You might have more renders of this type, like that you did as a series, but I mean, as far as I know, it's only these two. I would definitely do like a bunch more. It kind of just have them in a whole gallery, like the one where they're kind of like they're all like lined up like that, you know, and it's like each one has like the camera or whatever. Those can be super cool. So consider doing something like that too. Just mix it up. But man, this looks awesome, and I love just the presentation and the lighting. So thank you so much for submitting it, and yeah, it looks super good. I actually like this one more, personally. I feel like this one has more... You can just see like the detail you put into it more, which I think really makes it stand out. So that's so awesome. And amazing work, dude. So yeah, appreciate the submissions, guys. It has been a good time. I hope you guys are thriving with all this like lockdown quarantine stuff. It's been a little bit tough for me, but you know, life goes on. So yeah, this is gonna be it for today. Hopefully we'll pick it up next week, or you know, the week after, or the week after that with either me or one of the other guys. But expect another roast shortly, hopefully. Yeah, so thank you all for joining, and I hope you all have a great evening if you're in Europe, or day if you're in the United States. So we'll see you later, and enjoy your time during this whole sickness days. So I'm so tired, but see you guys. It has been fun, and good job to all of you. So it has been good. Oh my gosh. See ya.